some of you may have noticed that this summer I have not uploaded very much. It's because I've been banned from doing so, or suspended from doing so for much of the summer. And I'm going to say, as the election day draws closer, more and more of us who get banned or suspended are going to get suspended. I get suspended for very little. They suspended me this summer for old videos that are 7 years old in some cases, and that's kind of funny. Um, I care very little. Now, you may have noticed, some of you, that I have come back and uploaded some videos urging you to vote for Kamala Harris. Please do not vote for Orange Man Ban. Trump is banned. Trump is a fascist. Please vote for Kamala Harris. And I thought it was funny. I also thought perhaps that would actually do some good for my channel if the people or the AIs or the algorithms that decide these things or determine these things, if they were that stupid and couldn't hear the sarcasm in my voice and whatnot, the lampooning of the idea of voting for Kamala Harris. Well, a lot of humans out there didn't detect the that it was a joke. I don't understand that, but some people out there were actually mad at me. And some of you got the joke and left pretty funny comments like blink twice if you need help, and I love those comments. Yeah, some of those great. Anyway, that had the opposite effect than I thought it would. I got fewer videos by far on the pro Kamala Harris videos than other videos I have uploaded in recent months. Ones that YouTube people don't like, politically incorrect videos. Well, anyway. Dig, a loud vehicle's coming by, so I'm going to do something here. I am not engaging in any sort of adult or illegal activity. I'm starting a little campfire because I'm going to barbecue. Hold on. Oh, there ain't no life nowhere. If that doesn't make any sense to you, that's because you don't listen to Jimi Hendrix enough. And it just sent me shouts out in the middle of some song, like, dig. Alright, where was I? Ah, yes. You may notice that the visuals in this video are probably not great. That is because I have my computer broke down some time ago, and I've been using a laptop, and I thank Tabby for that. We are pretty poor, so we did have to make a sacrifice for me to get this laptop, but I don't have the computing power to make Just in Trouble videos as I used to. I can't do live streams, and I can't even screen record and show you things as I'm recording my voice, as I've done in the past, in a manner that is not live. I can edit videos, but I can't really record anything other than just straight audio, and then try to do something later, and that limits me a lot. Plus, I am working a lot on the Culture War Encyclopedia. Some of you folks know that I have a Substack for Just in Trouble, and that a lot of the times, because my videos do involve research and facts and evidence and things that you could click on and see for yourself, I often make little articles and upload them, and then make videos showing you the articles, and I click on things if there's videos involved or whatever, data. Stuff like that. And so I've done that, and I've made videos about that. Then I realized that even doing that, though it's more permanent and accessible than having hundreds and hundreds of videos where it gets lost in the river of time downstream from us all, I decided I was going to work on something I call the Culture War Encyclopedia. If you don't know what the Culture War Encyclopedia is, I'll say that again. Culture War Encyclopedia. If you don't know what it is, it's basically, imagine Wikipedia about the Culture War, but if Wikipedia wasn't biased and basically mobbed by leftists and edited and maintained and curated to maintain a leftist bias of pretty much anything partisan. So imagine, again, Wikipedia, but just about culture war issues, partisan issues, if it wasn't full of shit. And there you go. Right now it's a one-man operation. I hope in the future it's not, but we'll see. But it won't be crowdsourcing because it's not, unless I could somehow build in a mechanism to prevent bullshit. And maybe that could happen. I could kind of conceive of how it might happen, but I would need help with building the program for that because I haven't built any program since BASIC when I was like 12 years old or whatever. Don't have the money to also get a better computer, but it would be nice sometime in the future of getting a desktop computer or something that has enough computing processing power to get back into doing the videos that I used to be doing. But I am so into the Culture War Encyclopedia, and I hope you folks get into that. It is, again, what I described. It is on Substack at this point. That is a platform. It's a blog platform. I don't have the money to pay for a website that is like Wikipedia that just, so I have to use a blog because I have to use something free. I use Substack and I put a lot of work into that so far. And then all of a sudden there's a falling out between Elon Musk and whoever runs Substack. Some dispute over the comment section and who really came up with that system. I don't know, but they all of a sudden you couldn't post Substack on X and have it populate. It just won't populate. It just shows a link, the URL, and also it seems to demote you on X. And over on Substack, if you try to embed a tweet, or an X post, it used to embed, and the video, you can play the video right there in your Substack. Etc. It doesn't do that anymore. So if you want to have a tweet in Substack visually, then you have to take a screenshot of it and put that in there, which is fine, but usually you want to include the ones, more often you want to include the ones with videos, and you cannot click play on a screenshot of a tweet or a post that happens to have a video in it. And it becomes a big pain in the ass. I have to take screenshots of everything, and that include links to the tweet or the post so people can tweet. And that's an extra step that everybody has to do rather than clicking on the embedded thing. And I wouldn't want to be the consumer of content, even free content, that has to do an extra step. I mean, why do that? So now I am migrating everything over to Medium. I am in the process of doing, let's see, I put the main page, the one that just sort of lists the different topics that I have, and a couple of that I just wanted to put there to remind myself to make pages for. And that's it. And yeah, that's what I got so far. So anyway, I am on Medium, Culture War Encyclopedia. There will be links for that in the description below. Also to the Justin Trouble Substack. It's still there because I don't have any immediate need to migrate that, but I will. And also, what else? I wanted to tell you, Tabitha is still making videos. It is Tabitha Barnum on YouTube. That is Tabatha space Barnum, as in Barnum and Bailey Circus, Barnum. And she does gaming, and she talks, and it's just, it's those of you who love Tabby's personality, you already, most of you already get it. But she does different games while she talks about stuff or just reacts to the games, which is entertaining in and of itself. She does awesome projects on Minecraft. She also plays, what have you been playing lately? I mean, Resident Evil lately. But she does various games. Resident Evil: The Village. Certain games we've discovered are way too hot for our. Resident Evil, and I will here in a little while. Tabitha says she wants to play Resident Evil, and she will here in a little while, and probably record it for an audience. But she can only play an hour or two before her system gets too hot. She's playing a PS4, and it gets too hot. The other day, it got so hot that it just shut off. Yeah, fried the visual cable, right. It fried the visual
I
cable,
thought
but
my
if the game
PSA
system
fucking
didn't
killed
fry,
itself. No, it fried the
I don't know.
cable
I
and
don't
turned
think they can
itself
hear
off.
you at this distance with this thing. But Tabby's saying that we thought that her PS4 had been fried, but actually the cable, the visual cable, took the hit. Anyway, check out Tabitha Barnum on YouTube, and I'm gonna convince her one of these days to get or maybe I'll just make her a Rumble and make it automatically so that anything that she uploads to YouTube will automatically go to Rumble and or Odyssey. Oh, okay. So Tabitha has Rumble as well. So is it just Tabitha Barnum on Rumble?
Tabitha B.
Tabitha B on Rumble, Tabitha Barnum
But it
on
doesn't always
YouTube.
want to upload my stuff, so that's why I just don't pay attention to it already.
All right. Well, Tabitha doesn't really pay too much attention to her Rumble because there's some glitches. We'll work on that. I may take the Justin Trouble blog on Substack. I might at one point curate all those in the Culture Encyclopedia on Medium. Or maybe perhaps I'll even have my own domain and have it set up that way, which is what I prefer, but I don't know computers, and if it costs anything, I can't really afford it. Tabby and I think it's fair to say that our poverty is outweighed by our happiness. We're quite poor, but we're a lot more happy, I think, than we are poor, which is great. Uh, Yesterday I was sitting on the porch and I just started bursting out laughing out of joy, watching my wolf, one of my wolves, and a dog running around, chasing mice that are trying to steal food from the chickens and the ducks, and looking at the hummingbirds buzzing around beside my face, and looking from the porch down at the creek, and the weather and the mist. We are at the moment in a cloud, or we were at the time, I should say, not at the moment. And so everything's veiled in mist, and it is just so gorgeous. And I was thinking of Tabitha and how lucky I am, and I just couldn't help but laugh.
Aww.
You know, it's rare to laugh not because something's funny, but just because you're happy. I couldn't contain how happy I was. If I had died in that moment, it would have been a very, very happy death. But I have lots of moments like that. So, life is grand, is what I'm trying to say. But I wouldn't mind having a little extra money to, say, have a better computer and better stuff with which to make videos, and to have a domain for the Culture War Encyclopedia. And also, you know, if I had the money to hire people to help work on this with me, I would do so. And I'm the kind of person where the work matters so much that even if I had a very low ceiling, that would be fine with me. As long as there was, you know, as long as we don't hit the ceiling in terms of that. But, you know, Tabitha would probably rein me in. And speaking of which, we were talking the other day about how we are semi-Luddite. And I think in the future, this is what I see. I don't really have a dystopian vision of the future, although I think it will be for those who choose to stay that way. But I think in the future we will have, hopefully, those of us who want to, we can choose a low-tech life, but still have tech. And I'm thinking off-grid, horses, vegetable gardens, chickens, eggs, trading with other people. If somebody has a mill in town, somebody else might be a logger. Somebody else will take those logs, cut them into wood. You trade the wood for a certain amount of eggs and milk. And other people have a hardware store. There's a local doctor in town. You know, imagine Little House on the Prairie, village-style economy, and agrarian. With some town stuff, you know, because you got to have a hardware store and it sells hammers, and you blacksmith, you need a blacksmith, you know. So imagine that. Therefore, imagine that, and also probably through nanotechnology, I would imagine in a few decades, where you could just be out in the field hoeing it with your oxen, and you know, your grandkid wants to talk to you, and so you know. You're talking to them while you know, you're handless and whatever, and you know, you're talking to them. Or what else? You could just sort of do things as people do with what do they call that, a handless or a headset, I think is what they call it. Uh, and stuff like that. And I'm not into the whole virtual reality thing where it takes you into this whole other thing like a Matrix. But what if you want to be chopping down a tree and gardening, but then also see on your screen your grandkid as they're talking to you, as if they're being projected onto glass, and you could see through the glass, but you could also see them, and so you could see what you're doing and see them, and then you could talk to them and they could talk to you. And then perhaps, if they want to, they could be viewing you from above with a little drone, perhaps no bigger than a bee, and see what it is that you're working on and admire your carrots and whatnot. Um, and that is the future that at least, well, I know is possible, and that's where I see us going. Not everybody. Some people will not choose to do that. Some people will eat the bugs and live in the pods, and they will be chasing. What's up, baby?
Eating the bug and living in the pod.
Yeah.
Easier than thinking.
Yeah, as Tabby says, that's easier than thinking, and also they'll try to dangle the carrot in front of you to keep you in that lifestyle. They're like, oh, don't be like those lonely people out there in the country who have no fun, who are unplugged from everything, who don't have a nightlife, who can't just go to the club and like pick out somebody who's hot and go fuck them somewhere like you can when you live in the city. And I'm not knocking that necessarily because I it's kind of the lifestyle I came from in a certain kind of way. Although less shallow than that. Tabby knows I didn't sleep around. But when I was in my 20s, it was hard for me to go live in the country because I'm like, well, then how am I gonna go to clubs and meet cool people and see concerts and etc. and so on, dance clubs and industrial clubs and all that, and
They have raves out in the country.
they do have raves out in the country, but it's not the same thing as knowing that if your favorite underground band is coming touring, that it is there for you to see because they're surely going to play some club in the city that you live in, if you live in a major city, which I didn't live in, but very close to. Well, that was me in my 20s. Now I'm just, I love living out here. Whereas Tabby wants to see, and I will bring Tabby to, say, New York City, for example, and we'll get Tabby to see some of her favorite bands in some concert halls in New York City. Lord knows I've seen so many that I can't even remember. Wow. I've seen a lot of them. A lot of them. And it's funny because 5 is the magic number. I've seen the Butthole Surfers 5 times. Not exactly aiming for the number 5, but it happened. Sonic Youth, same thing. And Reverend Horton Heat, same thing. 5 times each. Certain bands I would have seen 5 times if I had the chance. One would be Black Sabbath. Got to see Black Sabbath all original lineup in the late 90s. That was amazing. Ramones, too, when they were all live. Great stuff. Anyway, I'm going off topic. What else did I want to say? I want to make sure I get everything that I've written down before I ramble too much more. I do have a channel for the Culture War Encyclopedia on YouTube and Alltech, and I do prefer that if you are going to watch my videos that you do watch them in Alltech. I have Rumble, Odyssey, Brighteon, although Brighteon sometimes won't let me upload videos that are too short or too long. And what else? BitChute. Yeah. Most of those don't censor me. Sometimes I get censored. Yes, even Rumble censored me. The Ashley Babbitt thing before they decided it was okay. Very, very early on after that happened, they censored me, and BitChute did for something else. I forget. I think it was a video where I made Nancy Pelosi seem even more drunk than she actually was, and she actually was drunk. But it was funny. Anyway, I do have a Culture War Encyclopedia channel, and I do videos there, and they are, I've only done a few, but they are good quality because I'm basically visually showing you the pages or the sections of the Culture War Encyclopedia for the topic at hand, which does include a lot of good visuals, videos, and etc. to play, and I play those, and they're interesting topics for popular audiences. One would be the race swapping in comics, for example. One would be the 1950s conservative cancel culture, which also had to do with comics. There was the Comics Code Authority that arose from that. We're basically talking the 1950s, late 40s, 1950s, right-wing conservative culture that went so far in that direction so as to be censor happy, so as to be cancel culture. And you know, the pendulum swings, and it's gonna, and believe me, it's gonna swing that way. So we're gonna be once again dealing with people who claim to be moderate right wing but want to make it illegal to burn a flag and want to make it illegal to protest certain things even peacefully, and they're going to want to ban certain speech, and you know, there are going to be more Ben Shapiro's, for example, who want, whatever their pet subject is, oh, I believe it's free speech except for criticism of fill in the blank. That's going to happen, but you know, then it's going to swing the other way, and there will always be, and you know, I think it's becoming more and more obvious how full of shit people are when they're full of shit. So I see a future where it's becoming more harder and harder to get away with being full of shit, and that's great. But the pendulum will swing. I think it's going to swing a little more wildly at first, and then swing less and less, and kind of teeter-totter more near the center in a certain sense. What do you folks think? I also think that people will be more tuned in to what is more important, which is up-down, so to say, instead of left-right. And up-down, I mean authoritarian on the one side and libertarian on the other side. Or you can think of it as collectivist, authoritarian on the one side, and individual libertarian on the other side. That's what I mean by up-down. I'm just saying up-down because usually when people map that out, in the direction of north or up is where they put authoritarianism and collectivism, or at least I put collectivism in there. That's what I choose to do, but other people will acknowledge that the upper is the collectivist range and the authoritarian range, end of the range, and that the opposite direction that is normally placed south or at the bottom there is the libertarian end of the pole, of the end of the extreme of the range. Or individualist is what I prefer to put there as well. Most people don't put them there, but they acknowledge that that's what that means. Anyway, to be libertarian is to be individualist, to be authoritarian is to be collectivist. But because not everybody knows that or is aware of that, I like to put them in my version of the visual of the political compass, which, by the way, you can see over at the Culture War Encyclopedia. Where does the political compass come from? What does it look like? What is it all about? Go see it. It's all there. And I think my motto is going to be others claim, we prove. And that's at least what I have now as the motto over at Medium for the Culture War Encyclopedia. And also, I plan to convert them all to books. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I'm going to convert them to books, and so that you can have them on your shelf, which is weird, because we're living in this time where I think in the future, there'll be something, I envision something just the way that you can alter Wikipedia, and I can alter the Culture War Encyclopedia and update it as time goes on, for pretty much all subject matters. I think none of them are sealed in the past, right? They're all subject to being updatable. I see in the future something like a book, like an encyclopedia set that you could put on your shelf, but also that doesn't become out of date just, you know, the next day when you wake up and you realize that something else having to do with Black Lives Matter happened and it's really big. So the book on your shelf that says Black Lives Matter section of the Culture War Encyclopedia is now it needs to be updated. So I imagine in the future perhaps we could have, I hope, something that is physical but also that could be updated like web pages can. That'd be pretty cool. You know, not exactly like the Kindles, the various devices that you can use to read books on, but not unlike that either. Maybe perhaps something that is shaped like a DVD box that represents a book, and you open it up and you have a screen on both sides, like pages, and you flip through it or something like that. And that could have embedded video because, you know, to have a physical Culture War Encyclopedia book there's certain subjects that are highly that have a lot of video, embedded video that you might want to watch. Otherwise, reading about it, knowing that there's video of the thing you're reading about, it's kind of silly. Although a lot of what I do is not really contingent on video at all. So I hope to have, I hope in the future they come up with something like that. That would be pretty cool. But in the meantime, I do plan on printing these books, and the one that is closest, I think, to being printable is the one section on Drag Queen Story Hour, or Drag Story Hour, to be more politically correct, because if they even say now the Drag Queen Story Hour, that marginalizes drag kings, because they want to be more inclusive, so it's Drag Story Hour now. But that section is complete. Well, there's a lot of sections of the Culture War Encyclopedia that are complete, but that is one of the book length sections of the Culture War Encyclopedia that is finished, subject to being updated. But I don't know if we'll hear too much more about that organization or that phenomenon in the future. I think it's pretty much just kind of like being stamped out like a wildfire is. Anyway, I'm going to publish that, but I really want to publish first in book form the section of the Culture War Encyclopedia on critical race theory. And that is because, not just because it's book length, but because Styx Hexenhammer did me the honor of writing the forward, or the forward to that section. And it is great, and it's just perfect. And I want to print it, and I realize, however, that if I were to print it in book form, that I am sort of ignoring the lineage of critical race theory from how did we get there from, say, cultural Marxism through postmodernism to critical theory and then to critical race theory. The postmodernism part I've been reluctant to go into because it's a whole ball of wax, and I started getting into that, and I started writing a book on postmodernism as far as it's concerned with the culture war. And there you go. So I was thinking, I just got to write one more chapter for the critical race theory section, and then print it out in a book, send Styx Hexenhammer a couple of copies, and thank him again for doing so. And here I am, months later. Oh well, it'll be all good in the end. You know, it's one of those things like wine. You can't necessarily rush things, and it's better that it comes out good than it comes out fast. And besides, I'm not making any money off of this, and so whatever, it's all good. It's about the love of the work. Now, it will bear fruit. Speaking of wine, and you know, these are seeds and vines that have been planted and are growing and are rooting. And I believe it seems to be that it will, on its own, put some financial stability underneath Tabby and I's feet. But it's not something I'm worried about. It'll happen. You guys know the saying, you know, there's different sayings from different philosophies, but, you know, it'll happen. Anyway, let's see, what else? Okay, yeah, I am working on what's been happening in the UK. You folks may or may not know about all that, or some of that. Different things kicked off. Some girls were stabbed at a Taylor Swift dance school. Stabbed and killed, and other children there were seriously harmed. A man, I think, was killed or seriously wounded trying to protect them, and there was some mix-up as to whether or not the attacker was Muslim, and I think he was an immigrant, or maybe a second-generation immigrant, or something. I don't know, I forget. I've been working so hard that I kind of falling asleep here. But anyway, I've been working on that. There's that. Then there was the fact that the video came out, you see, of UK police stomping on the head of apparently a Muslim guy and fighting with some Muslim men as Muslim women screamed, and it seemed like it was an airport or something like that. And then other video comes out later showing that the Muslim men attacked the police unprovoked, and they were basically in a very dangerous situation where it pretty much is you kind of have to make your enemy unconscious if the situation's going to become safe again. And so the media, or not so, but not therefore, but in addition to that, the media put out the edited stuff, or the government, or whatever, and I incited a lot of rioting and hatred, and then other stuff. I don't want to keep rambling on, but different events happened. There's been a lot of protests. Tommy Robinson has a lot to do with it. The government has just been blatantly, I don't know, it seems like a joke. If I try to explain it to you folks, you would think I've just lost my mind, but this is the Culture War Encyclopedia. We prove every little thing. And it has been insane over there in terms of the way that the government has been just so blatantly two-faced, or you could say one-sided, or you could say two-tiered in its justice system and its policing. In fact, they call the Prime Minister Keir Starmer. They call him two-tier Keir. The media, and he, when he addresses the public, he makes it seem like there are far-right people out there rioting in the streets, attacking Muslims and other brown people at random, and that's it. When in reality, there are peaceful, very peaceful protests of people basically saying we just want our kids to be, we don't want our kids to be raped anymore, and stuff like that. No more Muslim grooming gangs, and etc. There's a lot of that. There has been violence from infidels. I've seen some of that, and I'm documenting it. But for the most part, we're talking 99% of it has been peaceful. And they're all being called far right. And they're ignoring the government and the media that there are Muslims, or there have been Muslims anyway, roaming the streets with weapons in their hands looking for far-right people, because the government says they're out there. There's far-right people stalking the streets looking to kill Muslims and burn down mosques. And so what happens then? Muslims go out in the streets with weapons in their hands trying to protect their mosques in their neighborhoods, and then they end up attacking random infidels and light-skinned people. Now, among these Muslims, some of them are white people. There's gingers and etc. They're just with the Muslims, and they are Muslims. Some of them are wearing garb just because, like, there's a one ginger you can see in my report who's wearing traditional Muslim garb, so that way they don't mistake him for an infidel and attack him, because they're out to attack, you know what I mean? And meanwhile, Tommy Robinson is on social media telling people, please be peaceful. And the government is saying Tommy Robinson is inciting people to violence. And they're also saying that the EDL is out there, the English Defense League, and you got to be careful for them. English Defense League has not existed for many years. There is no EDL. So that is what I've been working on more recently. And then when I finish that, I'm going to start transferring over what is at the Culture War Encyclopedia on Substack over to the Culture War Encyclopedia on Medium. That way I can post stuff about it on X without being penalized, and I can embed videos, or embed X posts in the future without trouble. And so anyway, that is what I've been up to. If you care enough to be listening up to this point, then that's cool. What are you all doing with your lives? Because times are changing, and I'm interested. Tell me, what's life been like during the last 4 years, and where do you see things going, by the way? And how about those crazy events in the last few months, and surely in the next few months, Wowie McZowie, folks. Dig. Just hold on, man. I need to put another log on my fire, if you know. Tabby's cheek. What are you doing, Tabby?
Itchy.
She says she's itchy, but she's jiggling a body part, and I can't stop watching. She's laughing at me, I think. Okay.